Welcome to the Union Fitness Podcast with your hosts, Todd Hammer and the
CJ Gaffer.
and the finest producer this side of the Monongahela River.
Oh, the Mon this time.
Yes, we're
Nice.
giving you the golden triangle.
All right.
The cleaner side, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know about
Josh
that.
Elsas in the house, sublime tie-dye shirt, LA Dodgers hat, bad mustache, and
Oh, very fitting.
yes. And today, very special guests. Today, Charles beside me went sleeveless.
I had no choice.
He had no
Are the
choice.
guns the special guest?
I feel small today, so I said I'm flexing the entire time.
Okay.
I'm just going like this the whole time. The old
You're a
Arnold.
little bumpy over there, Ham.
Little
you know,
ISOs, old man ISOs.
Old
Yeah.
man muscles. Speaking of old man muscles,
Whoa.
my bicycle on the front of it used to say S for specialized. Now it has a flexing dude and says Dr. Jacked. All because of one man. The man, the myth, the legend. He doesn't need two legs because one leg's enough to whip your butt, CJ.
Sure is on a scooter.
Dr. Mr. Scott Caulfield. Welcome to the podcast, Scott.
Thank you, gents. Appreciate it. Sorry, I know we've been talking about doing this for a while, so glad you finally caught me with now that I can't get away on one leg.
So I noticed it's sunny today. It snowed this morning. It was probably 4 degrees.
Yeah.
It's probably 8. It's Colorado. It goes from
Colorado spring, yep. you never know
snow
what you're gonna
to sun to winter to summer all within an afternoon, right?
get. Yep. It was chilly last night and was spitting snow. It's sunny and 60 today.
It's 80 degrees in Pittsburgh today.
Wow.
80 degrees and sunny.
Last
Just-
week it was 30 some
It
degrees.
did
so
snow last week, so
yeah.
we're
We
got,
feel your
we're
pain.
like a mini
We
Colorado
feel
out
your
here.
pain.
There you go. There you go.
And always remember this, before we get into this, Colorado may have taller mountains, but due to the glacial structure of our mountains are steeper.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, if you
Okay.
didn't know that. Yeah, they're steeper. The angle of the mountains in the Alleghenies is much greater than the angle of
That's
the
why you got some
Rockies.
good mountain biking out there.
Yes, it's also why if you ever talk to someone who rode their bike across country, they tend to say Pennsylvania's harder than Colorado.
Well,
Because
look at
Colorado's just a long, slow grind up, where
Yeah,
Pennsylvania's just
yeah.
straight uphill. But Scott Caulfield, welcome, man. Awesome to
Like
finally
it.
get you nailed down here. We had to take your leg out to get you here, get you injured, so you couldn't go anywhere. So tell for our listeners that don't know you, tell us about yourself. What you do? What makes you the man?
Well, I don't know about that. I'll take it though. I'll take any of the accolades I get. But yeah, currently I'm the director of strength and conditioning at Colorado College, which is right here in Colorado Springs. Small private arts liberal college. It's been called Harvard of the West, is what I've heard. Anyway, very small. We got about 2,300 student body. Pretty unique. We play sports in 3 different divisions. So we have 2 Division I teams, ice hockey, and then women's soccer on the women's side. And then we have 15 Division III sports. So hockey plays in basically the SEC of college hockey, called the National Collegiate Hockey Conference. And women's soccer is in the Mountain West. And then our D3 conference is the SCAC, which is mostly schools from Texas and Louisiana. And
Wow.
us. So
That's a drive.
they
Yeah,
put some miles on for the D3 sports for sure.
And-
But it's cool. It's a really unique situation, setting, I guess. It's very small. It's that quintessential campus that when you see pictures, you're like, it looks like, the pictures of what you would think a real true college campus looks like. You got the backdrop of Pikes Peak right there over our field. So it's really cool.
Colorado College, though, Scott, I do believe, is the alma mater of one Guy Gadowski, the head coach at Penn State, good friend of mine.
You got it. Yep.
Josh
nice.
is an old Penn State hockey guy from back in the
Okay.
day, and he's such a
Yeah.
hockey bro. He
Love
is.
it.
I mean, he's so broed out that he still has bad hair.
Yeah, I still have the flow.
Yeah, bad
Never
hair,
cut it.
Dad glasses,
Nice.
mustache.
Yep.
He looks like an old Yammer Yager, but at night.
Yammer Yager's old now, Ham.
I know.
Yeah, all
It's a
right.
tough one.
We actually have an employee here who flew overseas back in 2019 to see Yager play a couple times.
Yeah, just for fun.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
serious.
So yes, you were with the NSCA. As the explain your job with the NSCA, because you were, I believe, director of strength and conditioning with the National Strength and Conditioning Association,
The
correct?
top dog.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. I started off honestly when I went there, and this is kind of a good aside. Like I went there January 2011, I left. I was an assistant strength coach at Dartmouth College in Hanover, New Hampshire. I left there to go to NSCA headquarters as an education coordinator. And at that time, that meant wearing a tie to work every day and sitting in a cube on the second floor of the NSCA office space, like rethinking why I just picked up my life and moved to Colorado for about the first 4 to 6 months. And I will say everybody at that time, which was kind of cool, got to coach. So anybody that was certified in the building had some coaching responsibilities. Again, at that time, it wasn't much for me when I first started. It was a few hours a week, but good things happen. Right time, right place, right experience. In the summer of that year, June of 11, I got promoted to the interim performance center manager, and then the never looked back. I kind of took on that role, but it just kept growing, and John Jost, who you guys may have known of when he was at Florida State, and he was on the NSCA board of directors. He was really big. He was a big proponent, him and Boyd Epley, about getting me out of the NSCA building, getting me out of here and in front of more coaches. And they were like, you need to be the connection to college, especially college and pro strength coaches, because the NSCA, didn't do a great job of supporting those people for a while, and people noticed. And so there was a big push, and those guys were the spearheads of it. And, I was kind of ho-hum about it. Like, I was like, man, I like being in the gym. I like coaching, like talking about like pushing me out of the comfort zone and, being like the face, for lack of a better word, at some point for the organization. I wasn't too keen on it, but like, honestly, when I look back now, it was the best thing that ever happened. And we did so much in those last even 5 years that I was there. I feel like we really pushed a lot forward, got a lot of projects that helped coaches. I think the events were great. Obviously, connecting with guys like you has been the best part of that job, and like being able to, create friendships that are still growing to this day was just the absolute best part. And then, in 2019, so Colorado College, okay, another side to this story. So Colorado College hockey, and hockey fans will appreciate this, used to play in a place called the World Arena, which is literally next door to the NSCA. So the NSCA and Colorado College hockey have had a long-standing tradition of this collaboration partnership since really the early, when the NSCA building was built here, 2001 or 2002. NSCA had been in charge of CC hockey. So that was my main team at the NSCA headquarters when I took over there. So that was kind of a cool aside, because it kind of came full circle. I was the head coach for CC hockey while at the NSCA from 11 to 2015. 2015, bigger picture NSCA stuff was just getting really busy, and I stepped down. Coolest thing about that was they created a new position for a CSCS certified coach to step in and have that job. So, I feel really fortunate that I was able to have a hand in showing them the value of having a full-time strength and conditioning coach. And then, in 2019, they literally called me up. I was at NSCA National, and someone from the CC staff called me, said, we're in a bind. Both of our strength coaches left. We haven't filled the position. Like, can you just come over here a few hours a day and basically keep the ship floating? And it was great. I did it totally with the intention of just helping. Like, I had no intention of going for this job until I had been there for a week or two. And then it was just a perfect storm. There was just, the athletes won me over first and foremost, and they were the reason I wanted to stay. But it's just a great place. It's small. That they had a new AD who hired me, and she's great. The resources are really good for a place like that. And it was less than a mile from my house. So like, there was just all these factors that kind of came down, and I was like, maybe I should just stay here, and again, got lucky, got the job, and been there through this pandemic craziness, and hopefully seeing the light at the end of the tunnel a little towards getting a little more normal, hopefully this summer, and by next fall, get all our students back. And we've got a new $70 million hockey arena coming online that we'll be playing games in this fall. Got another weight room going in there. So yeah, can't complain. Things are great. aside from having one leg, and yeah, it could be way worse than this.
We talked
I mean,
about
it's
that.
still
yeah.
here. It just doesn't work very well.
Just
So.
appreciate the things even when you have no Achilles. You got to appreciate the fact
100%.
that worse things could happen. But so you talked about the changes going on, and one of the cool parts I think is that a lot of people don't know the politics of it all. When you went into the NSCA didn't have a good reputation in strength coach circles. There were a lot of strength coaches, including myself, that were like, "Why do I care about this group of?" And I'm a guy who let my NSCA lapse. I'm a guy who didn't support the NSCA for a long time because I said, "Why should I support them? They've never reached out to me. I've never spoken. You were the first person I ever spoke to in person at the NSCA." And I remember initially I was like, nice guy, but I could still care less about the organization. And you won me over to the NSCA.
Nice.
So I think that, the politics that people don't always understand going on behind the scenes. And when you have, it's whenever people ever say, I don't like the NCAA or I don't like this organization. I'm like, there are people in there, and there are good people and there are bad people.
Yeah.
I know some really good people in the NCAA. I mean, I made some phone calls during the tournament to people, working with the help set up the women's basketball tournament and said, hey, listen, you guys dropped the ball. How can we help?
Yeah.
And as you get to know people. And I had a couple companies I spoke to that said, we're willing to help. And I think people often forget that, every organization, whether it be the NCAA, the NSCA, or the government, or any large organization, it has good people and it has bad people.
Totally.
And I think you brought that to light with the NSCA. So I credit you and tip the hat to you for that, sir.
Thanks, man. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Like I said, I mean, I think it was more just for a while that, they focused on a lot of internal things and projects that were in-house, and maybe they were online or books or things, or they had events, but like the outreach, the knowing that if you're a strength coach, that you could call or email Scott Caulfield and have a direct connection to a guy that's actually in the weight room every day, but that's at the NSCA headquarters, was just a huge kind of change where, obviously people could reach out to whoever was in the facility at the time prior to that, but like part of that job became being my girlfriend's dad actually used to call me the spokesperson for the NSCA, because he thought, like, when he would tell people about what I did, he was like, oh, he's the spokesman for the NSCA. I was like, it's not a far stretch from a lot of what I did, but it was just like, all right, well, I almost dropped my membership back in the day because I didn't see any value in it. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to go work there, was like, all right, well, I can be part of the problem or I can be part of the solution. And Brian Mann, Ron McKeefery, all these guys have said this over and over too. Like, don't complain about it unless you've tried to do something about it, or you're gonna. And so I wanted to be one of the people that was gonna try and do something.
Well, let's be honest here. We both know that bookworm Brian Mann is the problem. It's those PhDs stepping their toes in our world,
All the bourbon.
trying to tell us how to lift weights when all he's ever done is bench 700 in Westside.
Right.
It's funny because I remember after I spoke at the 2019 NSCA, and B-Man texted me and was like, hey, did you get your reviews back? And I said, no. He goes, never read reviews from the NSCA. And I go, why? He goes, because people were idiots. And he said, and I hadn't even seen mine yet because I had never spoken to the NSCA. And he said, one guy wrote, Brian Mann should shut up about everything except, like, whatever. He can only talk about velocity base. That's all he knows. And one guy said, Brian Mann should shut up. And Brian Mann's a bookworm and all this crap. And I'm laughing because I'm like, if you know Brian, Brian's this redneck from middle of nowhere, Missouri, who happened to be smart enough to work hard and get a PhD.
Right.
But I remember after that, I go to my computer and I'm like, all right, let's see. And I got a 3.5 out of 5. And I was like, is that good? Seems
too
okay.
shabby.
Right.
Like, you're going to have some bad scores. So 3.5 seems decent.
Yeah. C's get degrees,
Mhm.
man.
Yeah, and I remember one guy said, this is the absolute low point of the NSCA conference. And another guy said, the biggest wasted hour of my life.
Oh,
That's a
man.
win on
And then the
themselves.
other guy said, this was the one. He said, this guy had 20 minutes of information and 20 minutes of stories. What's that? And I'm like, what a great compliment.
Yeah,
I thought that was
that's a win. That's a huge. That's a 5.0 in my book.
He gave me a 0 or a 1.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a second. 20 minutes of information and 20 minutes of stories is a good presentation.
Yeah.
In my eyes, and
Yeah.
so the lesson I took from B-Man is never listen to those people because everyone's going to bash you no matter what.
Yeah.
Once you step onto a stage, you're going to have people saying,
haters.
whether you're with the NSCA, whether you're with Colorado College. Something that's annoying me right now, I'd like your thoughts on this, is the Baylor Gonzaga game. Everyone's blowing up Baylor strength and conditioning. Oh, Baylor lift. I don't know Gonzaga strength coach. I don't know if you do. I guarantee they lift weights.
I'm certain.
Right.
And I guarantee they lift weights hard because everyone does. And to
yeah.
me, it's a discredit to whoever that person is.
Right. Right.
I'm sure Baylor lifted, and I'm sure they're
Yeah.
proud of that. And we all know different teams, different cultures, but Gonzaga lifted, and Gonzaga lifted hard. Baylor just outplayed them in basketball on one day.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, the last thing I want to do if I'm an undefeated team is be undefeated in the national championship game, right?
Yeah.
Like that just is the perfect storm. And yeah, I mean, you can blame it on all you want, but yeah, let's look at what happened in the basketball game, not the weight room, right? Like I guarantee you, just like you said, those guys are probably lifting the same frequency, same number of days, like exactly.
Yeah.
Undefeated in a national basketball game or in the championship game, and then also the opponent that you couldn't play because of COVID.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
like I mean, everything was against them. Like they didn't stand a shot
Wait,
in that game.
They were scheduled?
Yeah, they were scheduled, but because Baylor got COVID, they didn't play.
Oh.
So Baylor had everything to prove. Gonzaga had nothing to prove.
Well, and that's just a tough draw. So I have to ask, how did you get the name Dr. Jacked? I mean, we all know you have the bigger biceps of everyone here.
Right. They're hidden for our protection.
Yeah, it is. Got the sweatshirts. A little windy. Yeah, so that's a great story. Aaron Osmus, former Sorinex, then former USC head football. When he was at Sorinex, and I'm trying to remember what year it was. I'm going to say it's 2016. In January, he was with Sorinex at the time. In our coaches conference in January, he brought me this framed program of the program that he wrote called Dr. Jacked, and he had signed it, and he said, Scott, thanks for being a friend. You were an inspiration for me writing this program. Appreciate your friendship, etc. And so that was where he dubbed me Dr. Jacked and kept calling me it on Instagram, and he came out with Coach Caulfield's Arm Farm program a year after that.
Can we get that Arm Farm program?
Yeah, when's the
we need it here?
21-day program drop?
You got it.
Because I'm lacking in that. I'm the opposite of Dr. Jacked.
The bicep intensive ebook is coming out soon. So
it's gonna be 12 pages, $58.99.
21-day bicep specialization program.
I am totally down with this.
21 inches in 21 days.
There you go.
Yeah.
Please consult the physician if your arms grow more than 1 inch in a week.
Guaranteed rhabdo, or how's this work? I don't know if I'm down with this program.
But yeah, just stuck from Aaron, and then Dan McKim really like running with it on social media and stuff. That's how it came to be. It's great. It's been fun to have fun with. I try to very seriously not take myself too seriously, and so being able to have some fun with that has been great.
I mean, that's one of the things I've said for years. The best strength coaches I know are scientists, but they're also meatheads.
Right.
And they like to, I've been lucky enough to train with some really strong. I remember I trained a handful of times up at Cressy's place with Eric, and the guy's a meathead.
Yeah.
He is an actual meathead. I mean, you don't deadlift over 600 if you're just in it for fun. Yeah. And I remember we were benching together, and he goes, "Well, we're done benching. Let's do a 225 rep test." And, anyone who follows a guy like Eric, who knows how smart he is, like he wouldn't do that because that doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit. Fatigue's too great.
Yeah.
And it was like two dudes training, and he goes, 225 rep test? I was like, yes, of course we're going to have a 225 rep test. That's what we do. That's so to me, that's what makes a great coach. Part scientist, part meathead. CJ's full meathead.
Full meathead. And with that being said, aside from curls, what would you say average Joes or anyone
buy the ebook?
Buy the ebook. Selfless plug. Aside from curls, what would you say someone should do every day just to be better in lifting or in health and something like that? What would they do?
Every day, I mean, I don't know that I would say a specific movement or exercise, but I would say if you just are consistent, and consistency is going to win. If you're in there every day, it doesn't matter. It obviously does matter to some degree what you're doing, but the point is being consistent overall is going to be the best thing that you could possibly do. Now, if you throw in 3 sets of 25 hammer curls on top of that every day, you're probably going to have thicker biceps. I'm just going to throw that out there.
The gold stars and the sprinkles.
I'm going to do 3 sets of 25 hammer curls after this.
After this, I should have done it before.
And then, because Ed Cohn once said to me, always do 100 push-ups, I'm going to hit 100 push-ups.
Yeah.
There you go.
Why not?
Because I got Dr. Jack told me to do hammer curls. Ed Cohn tell me to do push-ups. So I put it together.
Yeah. Huge.
That's a recipe for bigness right there.
I mean, I'm an Adonis by tomorrow. Forget consistency. Tomorrow, Adonis, mic drop. I'm out. Tell Daniel McKim he's going to make a hilariously dumb Instagram video about, I don't know, some Russian lifter doing this.
There you go.
Right. There you go.
So, what's your prediction for next year? You guys actually can get into this new building? I'm pumped up because I've been watching it grow.
Oh man, yeah. I just drove by it when I came back from lunch. It's awesome. I just looked over and I'm like, whoa, there's a parking garage now. We're gonna play games there in the fall. We are going to, I'm guessing the move-in's probably August-ish. So it's happening. It's really cool, and it's gonna be badass. The first hockey arena that we've ever had on campus too. CC's been playing hockey since the 20s. So it's really exciting for the school as well and the city. It's a huge project. There's a lot going on in the Springs right now. You've got a new soccer stadium for the pro soccer team. You've got our arena going up. The Olympic Museum was just finished last year. So things are moving and shaking in the spring. So we'll be ready for you when you come visit.
I was going to say, I will be there in August. So let's hope. And I have to ask this. I'm going to put a little pressure on you. Who's doing the weight room?
That's a good question. So
when you find out, you'll tell me.
Yeah, my buddy Dan McKim has been on
right.
my speed dial. So yep, we're gonna go Sornex and play flooring, and it's gonna be badass. It's been really fun designing another weight room. It's been really fun.
We actually did did our floor here, our newest addition. And Elite did our rack, Sornex did our accessory stuff.
Very
so
Frankenstein.
we're a mess.
Yeah, nice. I don't know if you can see it. You probably can if I show it, but
I've seen this. I know.
Play did my flooring here
On
too.
your backyard, nice.
So
no bad grass.
Well, then you definitely have to pick up the Alfie poop.
Oh
yeah.
The Alfie poop doesn't disappear ever. That stays forever.
A little more maintenance, yeah.
So go ahead.
Oh, so this one, maybe people don't know. What are some of the things you might have had to do in building your weight room, like basic 101, how to build a weight room?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing, right, is you've got X amount of space, and whatever that is, depending on where you are, you got to really think about how you train your athletes, right? The things that you need to do what you want to do. And so for me, I think open space is always a big one. I really have tried to err on the side, and when we redid the NSCA weight room in the performance center there in 2016, I think 2016, like opening up that room and making more space, and even little things like just having the equipment that you really want, right? Whatever types of barbells or specialty equipment. So I've kind of looked at it from that aspect. Obviously I need some kind of conditioning equipment, so I chose to get into some different bikes or a couple treadmills that you can sprint. So just trying to balance it out, and don't be afraid to ask for more money. I'll tell you that much.
There we go.
I hit a point at one point a few months ago, and I was just like, gosh, it's not doing what I want it to do. And if I had just been satisfied with the number I was told originally, I never would have got it. And I asked, and I got what I wanted. So I think that was a big one for me. But for me, again, it's open space. It's having the ability to train our guys in the right number of groups too. So I added more workstations maybe than somebody might. I love again, Sornex is so good at kind of customizing things to help fit your space and your needs, that we did some neat, really cool stuff with some of the design. I think it's going to be a big showcase for them as well. So yeah, and hopefully, we might have to have you help install in August.
We're ready,
That's an
bro.
easy-
We're
that's an
we're,
easy trip
we're
for me.
ready. Do you know I worked for Sornex for 3 days?
Oh, nice. There
I
you
was a
go.
Sornex employee. I
Man of
installed
many talents.
Liberty's weight room when they did that football
Oh, yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
they
Nice.
were
That's
they
a
were
sweet one.
basically. I mean that was such a big project back in the day. That I mean, no one had a weight room like Liberty when it was put in
yeah.
04, 05. Well, they just
Yep.
didn't have the manpower.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
a friend of mine, Jason Rydell, was the strength coach in American, called and said, "Hey, you want to drive down to Liberty and install weight room?" And
Nice.
it was me, and I mean that was back in the day when Bert and Pops were down there installing racks.
Wow, nice.
And have you ever been to Liberty's weight room?
I've never been there in person. I've seen pictures.
It's in the basement, and when the
Okay.
elevator breaks, moving a weight room in, it creates a lot of issues.
Oh my gosh.
There were dudes stuck. They were sitting on the dumbbells in the elevator and it was knocking. You guys good? Yeah, we're chilling in here.
Holy moly.
Yeah, so that was a mess. But you said something there, I think, which so many strength coaches need to learn. But and just young professionals ask for stuff. Like if I give you job A to do, but only give you enough to do job B, well, you're not going to achieve job A. And I hear this all the time from strength coaches. And one of my frustrations, strength conditioning, you always hear if you take this job, we want you to stay 2 to 3 years. You know, they ask for a time period. And I've said to many strength coaches, did you ask for a contract?
Right.
Like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, if you ask me to stay at a job for 3 years, I'm committing.
Yeah.
What are you committing to me? And to me, I think strength coaches are so afraid to negotiate, to discuss the future. And I think you said it best. You know, I looked and I said, I have X amount of monies to spend, and I know that I have to do all this with it, and it's just not adding up.
Yep.
And they have to have a hard conversation. But I think, you know, one of the skills that strength coaches don't have, and probably personal trainers and anyone in this profession, I know you've been on both sides, you know, the personal training side, strength coach side, it's like the business, understanding the business of it all. You know, if you give me $10,000 more, $20,000 more, you know, this is what I can do with it, and here's how it's going to make us more effective. And I think that's just such a huge lesson for young professionals to learn.
Yeah. It's such a great point. And like it goes it reminds me of back in the way back days in my bartending days, one of my bosses used to say, I like problem solvers, not problem pointer outers. And that has stuck with me to this day. And my AD is a great example. Like, she does not want to hear about the problems you have, but if you bring her the solutions that you have, she is all about it. So if you bring solutions, you've got big time support. If you talk about all the problems, don't bother wasting your time.
And I mean, it's just I don't mean to make it an age thing, but you know, I think as you age through a profession, you learn that lesson.
Sure.
I think my boss here, the people I answer to, are similar in that sense. They don't, go solve your problems, go do your job. We don't care. You know, but whenever you have something that's going to make us better, hey, share that with us. And even when I meet with our owners, it's the same thing. It's, you know, it was funny yesterday. I had to meet with our owners who are out of New York, and you know, they said, we have some questions. Are you in A, B, and C? And not only had we already done A, B, and C, but we had gone above and beyond on A, B, and C. And having those answers that, hey, we see a problem that could come up, but here's how we've already acted. And I'm not, you know, the problem may still arise, but at least I've acted in the best way I think to avoid the problem. You know? So, last question I have for you. This is some serious stuff, Josh.
Hold on to your butts.
What is the best mountain bike trail in Colorado Springs when I get there in August?
Whoa, that's a tough one. Best mountain bike.
Because I've been Googling a lot.
Things. Well, the mountain biking pro is sitting across from me, so I gotta be careful.
I was gonna say I saw someone back there. I was wondering if I needed an expert to step in and answer this.
Yeah. Well, if we go by her best trail, then you're gonna need like your full full pad kit to go.
I would like to not die, and
Yeah.
I do wreck a lot.
Every day he comes in and says he wrecked his bike twice.
Cracked a
Yeah.
helmet this year off a boulder.
Cracked the helmet this year. There's some great places, and you can look them up. But there's a place called Stratton Open Space. It's kind of 3-4 miles away from here. Tons of little trails in there, but there's one called the Chutes.
That's the
and
one
it's a
I'm looking
really
at.
cool, really fun one. That's kind of they just redid it all. It's one way in a certain
Yep.
spot. So cool. Another one you got to look up is called Captain Jack's.
All right, looked it up.
Yep. And basically, you can ride the Chutes up, and then you go up this road called Gold Camp. You get your ass handed to you on
I
this
saw
uphill,
that.
and then Captain Jack's is all down. It's a bomber. It's so fun.
Now my full suspension on that uphill. I gotta tighten that thing down to get up the hill. Huh?
Yep. Lock
'Cause
her down.
I'm pretty excited for this
Some
trip.
gearhead talk
But
over
I'm
here.
pretty pumped up about the fact that I may not survive. And serious question, am I going to have headaches when I'm at whatever 10, 11,000 feet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You definitely got to hydrate, man. When you get here, we tell people that all the time.
So beer is good.
I tell people you got to go 2-to-1 water to beer ratio your
Beer.
first couple of days, though, to be safe.
Okay, 2 beers, 1 water.
Got
I
it.
like it.
That's all I heard.
And plus there is water in beer. Everyone knows
Yes.
that. How much
True.
what's that whiskey ratio? Well, hey man, do you guys have any other questions for the man, the myth, the legend, Dr. Jack Scott Caulfield while we got him here?
Just an honor to be in your presence, and hopefully I gained some inches on my biceps by talking to you, I guess, huh?
Yeah, probably the
No.
coolest nickname we've had on the show to
Yeah,
this point.
hands down.
I don't know if we've had any other nicknames.
So he's the coolest by default.
I mean, CJ's nickname is a nickname.
Yeah, the
There you
host
go.
doesn't
There
count.
you
No,
go.
right?
Yeah.
Well, hey,
thank you,
seriously,
Tim,
man, thanks for
for,
coming on today. I know
yeah.
you're a busy dude. You're actually, people always say you're a busy guy, but you actually are because you know everyone in the profession. And we do appreciate what you do and keep doing what you do. And
Good,
next
thank-
year we're gonna fly the whole staff out to a Colorado College game.
That'd be pretty dope. Or maybe
That'd be
yeah,
sick.
Chatham won't play them.
If you guys ever play, east of the Mississippi, we'll travel to that.
100%. You got
Ohio
it.
State, I don't think you're coming to
Penn,
Robert Morris.
come play Penn State.
Yeah, that could happen. That
Right.
could very well happen.
Yeah, we know some people.
Get
Mate,
Gads
yeah.
in the mix.
Make
yeah.
it happen.
Yeah, we'll get the alumni connection going.
Yeah.
All right, we'll put some calls in, brother. Good talking to you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
See ya.
Thanks, dog. Wrapped.
Wrap up the show.
Wrap up the show.
Yeah.
Wrap it up, Ham.
You
Hit the wrap it up Dave Chappelle button.
Thank you for joining us on this week's. I never wrapped it up before. We never wrap it up.
We always wrap it up.
Thank you for joining us on this week's Union Fitness Podcast, produced by the one and only Josh the Terminator Elsass, Charles
Not as good of a
Edward
nickname as Dr.
Jasper
Jack.
to my right, not to my left,
Stage left.
and number 2 in your hearts, but number 1 on the mic, myself, Todd. Love y'all.